How you doing, everybody? It's your boy Wardy, and as you see, we're back at it talking about the Amazings. And folks, I'm excited to get into this one because we have some positive Pete Alonso updates here. And what do I mean by that? Well, the owner himself and Steve Cohen has come out in a recent interview that I'm going to show you guys shortly, explaining his thoughts on Pete Alonso and his potential future, and they're all positive. So we're going to break down what were Steve Cohen's comments today, what we can take away, should we take it as anything more than face value or just face value, and everything in between on the future Pete Alonso in this organization is what we'll be getting into. But before I do that, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, as it is the easiest and best way to support the channel. Thank you all so much in advance. And of course, thank you all so much in advance from hearing from today's video sponsor, our great friends at BetUS. For those that don't know, BetUS is America's #1 sportsbook, as they're safe, secure, and reliable. And they've got you covered with all your sports betting needs. Whether you're getting in on NHL in season action, whether you're getting in on NBA in season action, or if you want to wait until MLB season around the corner here, where we're going to be doing some unique WardyNYM parlays that will break down a little bit in pregame shows and go over, see how we did if we hit or lost in our post-game shows. So say I want to tell you guys that, I don't know, Starling Marte, we're going to hammer the over on at least one stolen base today. Francisco Lindor, 2 or more bases. Kodai Senga, if healthy, 7 or more strikeouts. Or, we'll go with a more realistic option right now. Jose Quintana, 5.5 or more Ks over his start, whatever it may be. We're going to have a lot of fun with these parlays, and you guys can get in on the action with me and be a part of this awesome, amazing community here among Mets fans on WardyNYM. So if you want to get in on the action, if you guys enjoy sports betting, and of course, do it responsibly, make sure you guys know what you're getting yourself into, then make sure to click the link in the description. That way you too get a 125% boost with not your first deposit, not your second, but your first 3 deposits, folks. That means if you deposit $100, you automatically get $225 to work with. You can do that 3 times. It is that simple. It is that easy. BetUS has you covered, and shout out once more to them. But guys and gals, let's get into where does this reporting stem from earlier today. As many of you guys have already seen online, as the Mets posted themselves here as they're promoting their new podcast, Meet at the Apple, in which the full interview will be debuting tomorrow, Saturday, on the Mets YouTube channel. But let's take it away with the key comments from Pete Alonso today.
Just led me right into a fellow by the name of Pete Alonso, who's going into his walk year, the final year of his contract. Where do you stand right now in terms of making Pete perhaps a lifetime Met?
Listen, we want to keep him. He's an important part of our team today and hopefully in the future. We know the fans feel strongly about him, and I'm not tone deaf. Okay, I totally understand the fans' love of Pete. I hope he hits 55 home runs and makes it so difficult on me, in free agency. So I would call that a great outcome.
All right, guys, you heard it from the man himself, Steve Cohen, the man on the wall behind me. That's slightly cut off, unfortunately, when I had the privilege of meeting him a year ago or so. To my left. Yeah, I can't do it. It's difficult. You know what I'm saying. Regardless, guys and gals, I want to know your initial reactions to Steve's comments down below. And again, highly implore you all to check out that full interview that will be on the Mets YouTube channel tomorrow, hosted by, yes, Howie Rose for that segment. That will not be the case for all their podcast episodes, but similar to how what Draftneck Mark and, of course, James Shiano did a year and a half ago when they had a Steve Cohen interview, they let Howie take it away, and that's exactly what they did there with the Mets' new pod. So now let's talk about this, okay? Yes, I'm very happy to hear Steve Cohen's remarks, all positive things. You love to hear the fact that he literally said, we want to keep him, and he's an important part of our team today, and then goes on to say that I hope he makes it difficult for me by hitting like 55 nukes this year, and that would be the best case scenario. So clearly, both sides are expressing their interest level and staying in Queens. And something that stood out to me too was that Pete Alonso just yesterday shared remarks on how excited he is for this to be the first season as a Met where the Mets home opener is happening at Citi Field. Like, you could see the pure excitement. He couldn't contain himself. He looked like Will Ferrell in, It's Alligator Nights, when he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. He looked excited and he looked pumped up, knowing that he's finally going to have an opportunity to rock with Mets fans on opening day at Citi Field for the first time in his career. And especially it being a potential walk year, there's a lot more magnitude to this. So now let's get into why exactly did Cohen make the comments he did. Well, obviously the Mets have an interest level in bringing back one of the best power hitters in all Major League Baseball for obvious reasons. But something that we also need to keep in mind is that this is a business. So while it's awesome to hear Steve's comments and they're reaffirming rather, you still need to make sure that you guys meet at some point. Alonso made it known in recent interviews, speaking to the press, that yes, I have been listening to the Mets all offseason long. They've only approached me with their 1-year ARB deal, and that was it. I have not heard anything on extension at this point in time. David Stearns has made it known the interest level. Steve Cohen has now made it known. But here's the thing. Pete Alonso, for obvious reasons, especially as a Scott Boras client, is not going to be the first to approach the Mets. Brandon Nimmo wasn't the first to approach the Mets. Players usually aren't, especially if they are a status of Alonso's magnitude, or you may have potential to hit north of a decade-long $250 to $300 million contract in the open market once the season's conclusion has been done. So when you look at things right now, you understand that, yes, Alonso would like to be here, and you know that Steve Cohen would like to, but they need to meet in the middle at some point. And whether we're going to find that out this season or not is going to be key. Another thing that stands out is Pete Alonso's adamancy in saying, hey, unlike Francisco Lindor when he had that hard deadline for opening day to be extended, which made sense for Lindor's case considering he never played a game with the Mets. There's a lot of turmoil with the organization at the time. There still is. It's hard to commit a decade long unless you're really getting the money you're looking for an organization you've never been a part of. But in Alonso's case, he's been here the past 6 years, which just shows you how much he wants to be here because he's dealt with what? A new front office almost every single year during his time as a Met, almost a new manager every single time he's been as a Met, and yet he made it known that he's beyond willing and open to negotiate throughout the season. So if that isn't an obvious fact that these two should rekindle this relationship and be here for hopefully the entirety of Alonso's career, I don't know what is. But again, Steve's a businessman. Wanting something and making sure you keep that said something are two different things. Steve may say right now that yes, he would love Alonso back, but with the strong likelihood that an extension doesn't happen throughout the season, once you hit the open market, it's completely fair game. And who knows what Alonso's season would have looked like by that point in 2024. I think he's going to have a tremendous year. I think he's going to hit for higher contact. I think he's going to go back to being able to spread the ball a little bit more opposite field with those bloopies, whatever it needs to be. I think he's going to get back more in the realm of 2022 than what we saw in 2023, especially in a contract year. We haven't even seen Pete Alonso in a contract year, so I can only imagine what things might become. He might just go for 55 bombs the way that Cohen said, and it's going to make it awfully difficult for the Mets to make their decisions. But that's the point here. Pete Alonso is one of the best bona fide sluggers in Major League Baseball. He has been a homegrown talent, one of the few homegrown talents currently in this organization. Do right by him and make sure that this man never leaves Queens until he officially retires. That's what I have to say about that. But Steve also did not get to where he's gotten in life with his billions by, automatically being in agreement with everything and saying, you know what, everyone, as I'm going to give him a bag just because I like him. That's not how it works. So David Stearns and Cohen are going to be collaborative in their efforts and hopefully trying to keep Pete Alonso, but they understand it's a business and they know that it takes two to tango. So while they would like a deal to get done, I'm sure, they also know that they have a line in the sand currently on the dollar amount that they're probably looking at. And for Alonso's case, he obviously has a dollar amount he's looking at, and whether they can meet in the middle or not, we will hopefully find out throughout some time in the regular season if we do not find out sooner. Again, I love that Alonso has shown the adamancy to say, hey, we can negotiate throughout the season, but the Mets need to actually do that for it to happen. They need to approach him first. And as more time goes on, there is very much a reality where maybe the Mets don't approach him for a decent period of time. Maybe they do as we get a couple months in the season. Maybe they will during spring training. This is an ever-flowing type situation here with one of the best power hitters in Major League Baseball. And this is not a guy that you can just allow to walk for the sake of walking. God forbid if Pete Alonso is not a New York Met past the 2024 season, the Mets need to make sure that they replace his power and production and then some. And there's really only one guy feasible out there in the free agent market a year from now to help in that regard, and that is headlined by, yes, Juan Soto. So not to get in the debate, Soto or Alonso or anything like that, but I assure you that once we get to the free agent market, if Alonso is a free agent and is not extended by then, that is something the Mets will be weighing heavily, assumably that Soto hits the open market too and doesn't extend with the Yanks, because I don't see a chance that happens, regardless on the success he has. But point is, both these teams, the team side, the player side, they love each other. They like to make something happen. Boras having a client like this similar to Nimmo shows you that there's a willingness to get an extension done, but now it's about less talking. Let's start to act. I love that you want him to be a Met, that being in Cohen. I love hearing that, okay? But prove it. Let's see some action here. I know it's a business, so it takes two to tango. Like I mentioned, it might drag a little bit. We might get no extension talks much at all throughout the year. And it's all indicative on what the Mets' plans are. But hey, if we're going to take more than face value with what Steve Cohen is saying himself, that he wants him here, and all these things, then I feel that there's a solid confidence level in Alonso staying in the organization. Not getting my hopes up, but I do have a confidence level in him to a degree that I can't say necessarily that I've had with certain free agents in years past. So that is what I'll leave you with, Mets fans, whoever you're a fan of. Let me know your thoughts down below. What is your biggest takeaway from Steve Cohen's comments? Making it known that, yeah, we would love to keep Pete, but again, let's meet in the middle here then. You probably maybe want Alonso and Boris to come to you guys, but in reality, you probably got to come to Pete, because at the end of the day, you're buying him. Pete staying in the organization is something that we would love and would be a privilege, but it is not the same degree of the Mets' need for him versus his need for the Mets. Alonso is going to get a big payday wherever he goes, should it not be the New York Metropolitans. But for the Mets here, there are not a lot of Pete Alonsos out there. And that's the big difference. And that's exactly why, in my opinion, you need to do everything in your power to make sure one of the best homegrown talents in recent history, one of the best leaders in and out of that clubhouse, regardless of what you may hear from others, he is a guy that needs to be a Met for the remainder of his career. So that is what I'll leave you with. Again, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below on everything as always. And stay tuned for consistent coverage on all things Mets all season long. We have a lot coming, including post-game shows back tomorrow, this Saturday, addressing the first spring training game for the Amazons this weekend. See you guys there. And until then, let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.